Is your firearm rail equipped? Then you're ready for the Railmaster from Crimson Trace. Easy to install to almost any pistol with a rail, all with the same quality and confidence you expect from Crimson Trace. CrimsonTrace.com. Confidence you can see.
On today's Gun Talk, Tom talks with the NRA's head honcho, Wayne LaPierre, about the growing attacks on gun rights. We go really old school with the Cody Museum, one of the top firearms collections in the country. Then we'll talk gun cleaning, featuring one of the slickest tools ever. Plus, you can get help from Tom. Offer a range report on a gun you like, or if you think guns are evil, Tom will give you the floor. Just pick up the phone and call 866-TALK-GUN to join in. Now, here's Tom Gresham and Lock and Load.
All righty, we got a lot of things lined up for you today. Hey, I'm Tom Gresham. Glad that you could be with us. We're going to be talking guns and ammo and everything else. Hey, I went and sat down at a restaurant yesterday morning, first thing in the morning. People having breakfast around me. As I sit down in the table behind me, I hear a guy saying, well, you have to adjust the eye relief on the scope. And I'm thinking, I like this place. Natchitoches, Louisiana, Lazion's Restaurant. Good place if you're ever over there. By the way, if you want to join us, 866-TALK-GUN. We'll get you in here. You can go to Twitter. I am at Gun Talk over there. You can shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. Now, before we get to, we got a whole lot of stuff lined up for you here. I see that Wayne LaPierre was blasting the mainstream media when he spoke at the CPAC conference, National Conservative Political Action Conference outside of Washington. I guess that was yesterday. Well, we were able to grab Wayne, the day before that, and did what I thought was a really interesting interview with him. And in the middle of it, listen up, because he mentioned something, I think he stumbled upon a great explanation of talking about the elite media, the culture in America, and gun owners and gun rights as a metaphor. Here's my conversation with Wayne LaPierre. It's always a pleasure to bring in Wayne LaPierre from the NRA because, frankly, you talk about a guy who's in the middle of the whirlwind all the time, and he probably has more sources of information coming at him that the rest of us either don't have or really wouldn't want. Wayne, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Tom, great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
I have never seen us fight on so many fronts as we are doing now.
No, I mean, I think at its very core, what this is about is they are trying to take the way we grew up, what we believe in, the individual rights, the right to be safe, the right to be secure, the right to protect your family. I mean, the most basic things in our lives, and they're in terms of being normal, and make it not normal. And they're trying to shame and stigmatize it and change the culture in which we live in. That's what this is really about at its very core.
Where's this coming from? What has happened to have what at least appears to be a large segment who wants to demonize us, marginalize us, and essentially make our culture, our way of life go away?
Yeah, I think it's an elite in this country, to tell you the truth, that doesn't represent the majority at all. I mean, it's political elites and agendas combining with media elites and agendas, and it's having a profoundly cynical effect on our entire system of governance in this country. The media, I mean, I've always believed in the last 10, 15 years, our greatest vulnerability is the failure of the media to provide a level playing field for the truth. I mean, it's lies and distortions about virtually everything that we're dealing with in terms of firearms, and it's all intended to accomplish a political agenda.
I agree completely. I talk about the media a lot, and I've started trying to explain to people, here's why I talk about it. It's not that I'm just railing against the media. It's that the way the media covers or doesn't cover, and the way the media slants the story, actually shapes public opinion. And it is, in fact, public opinion that will determine the future of gun rights.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. And these media people, I mean, they know what they're doing. I mean, this is about changing the culture, and it's not journalism anymore at all. I mean, it's in that atmosphere where it's not journalism, a lie ends up having as much value as the truth. A lie ends up being an acceptable way to communicate. And no one No group of Americans pays a bigger price for that than the 100 million gun owners in the United States that are just trying to protect their freedom, yet everything gets distorted.
Well, case in point, we just in the last 12 months have seen several reports come out, several studies from, Department of Justice, from the Centers for Disease Control, and from others that say violent crime is down an incredible amount over the last 20 and 30 years. Gun sales are up. Violent crime is down. Gun sales are up, but the number of children accidentally killed in firearms accidents is down to the lowest point it's ever been. None of that is getting reported.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I've and people know it everywhere in the country. I mean, I've never seen journalism in worse shape in this country. It's really not about the truth. I mean, like I said, it's about agendas, and it's both political and media. But I'll tell you, I mean, I've also, I just talked about it in a speech. I've never seen a situation where you go out around the country, and everybody that's listening knows what I'm talking about. People shake their heads and they go, "I've never been worried about this country till now." And in terms of gun rights, it's almost like we become a metaphorical movement. I mean, gun rights is a metaphor for a sense that it's all slipping away. There's this yearning for individual freedom in this country, the right to be free, the rights that are in the Bill of Rights, the right to protect yourself, the right to protect your family and be safe. I mean, all the things that make up a normal American life are what we stand for. And that's why I think, you know, despite the media in New York and the media in Washington, it's why people are flocking to the NRA. They're signing up. They're saying, stand with me. And it's why, ultimately, we're going to win this fight. It's not the buildings in Washington, the NRA building in Washington. It's not those of us that even work there. It's people one by one all over this country that are determined in their heart not to lose these freedoms that make America special and what it is in the world today.
I think you are absolutely onto something when you talk about gun rights being a metaphor for everything that's going on time and time again. It's like just one person at a time, one individual at a time. They'll call the radio show and they'll say, and typically it'd be a lady, and she may be in her 50s, 60s, or even 70s years old, and she's saying, you know, I went out and bought a gun. It's the first gun I ever bought. And I'll say, well, what happened? I mean, did something happen in your life that made you want to go buy a personal protection gun? She says, you know, I just don't feel good about the way things are, and so I wanted to buy a gun for protection. But what you're really hearing is what you said, Wayne. She doesn't feel good about the way the country's going. And there are a lot of places where she can't do anything about that. But the one thing she can do is she can go buy a gun and exercise her gun rights.
I mean, that's right. I mean, ultimately, the strongest defense of freedom is the marketplace, and people all over this country are practicing their freedom. And you know, there's a nobility in all of this right now in standing up for our individual freedoms against this tide in Washington, D.C. and the media elites. I mean, people look around at the lies and the recklessness and the misinformation coming out of the media, and it has consequences. People see it. They process it. They process the world around them. And in that world around them, they say, I want to be safe. I want to be secure. I'm going to be prepared. And one of the things they do is they go out and buy a firearm so that they can be prepared to protect themselves, protect their family, if it all goes to pieces.
Sure, they're getting at least some response. They have some measure of control. Now, give us, if you will, a situation report, a sit rep on where we are now. We're in the year of our midterm elections, so we're looking at that. We have a lot of actions going on in the states. Kind of where are we with the state of gun rights, legislation, litigation, and the elections coming up?
Well, if you take the country as a whole, I mean, ultimately, despite, the more pressure out of these media elites than I've ever seen before in the Washington, D.C. political class, we stand and we stood and we fought together, and by and large, over the last year, we saved this freedom. I mean, there's some states where we got work to do, and everybody knows which ones I'm talking about: the New Yorks, the Colorados, the Californias, New Jersey. I mean, there's states like that, but Connecticut. But by and large, the American public came together and said, we are not going to let this freedom be diminished and be eliminated like they've done in other countries around the world. Yet, we're at a precipice right now, to tell you the truth. I mean, we all know that Bloomberg, with his $32 billion, has said he's going to spend whatever it takes to change our culture, to eliminate the Second Amendment. And we've never had a president that hates the Second Amendment freedom of the American public like this one. And you're going to have the media every step of the way in their corner. So, I mean, we've got a lot of money against us. And this fall is going to be a battle. It's going to be fought district by district, congressional district by congressional district, state legislative district by state legislative district. And they may have the money and they may have the media, but we have the people. And it's up to each of us, every one of us, starting with myself and Tom. I know you're going to do it, and everyone listening and everyone they can talk to together, come together as Freedom's Army to save this freedom this fall. This is going to be a deciding election in terms of the future of our freedoms in this country.
Get out to vote, but it always amazes me when you discover the, and frankly, embarrassing number of gun owners who are not even registered.
Everyone needs to register. Everyone needs to vote. Everyone needs to talk to every one of their neighbors that we can. I mean, can you imagine if President Obama gets an anti-Second Amendment House on top of an anti-Second Amendment Senate with 2 more years left in the presidency? There is no greater threat to our constitutional freedoms than in that scenario, and we can't let that happen. The good news is it's in our hands. I mean, if we come together right now and fight with everything we have to defend our freedoms, we can win this decisive battle this fall and turn the tide in this battle to save our American freedoms that too many of us believe are slipping away.
I'll throw a thought out for those who have not actually figured this one out. We need 6 seats to change in the Senate to get control of the Senate. And for those who haven't thought it through this far, the Senate is the body that confirms Supreme Court justice nominations.
That's exactly right. And we all know that there's nothing that the Bloombergs and the Obamas and the media and all those that want to eliminate our Second Amendment freedom would like to do more is to turn that 5-4 majority on the Supreme Court the other way around and have the court say there is no individual right to own a firearm in the country. It's only the government's right. And that's what will happen if we don't get control of the Senate and President Obama gets an opening. I guarantee you that's where he intends to go with it.
Let me ask you a question, Wayne. Because of your position and your visibility, you may not actually get this very often. I get it occasionally where people, I'm always telling people, you have to belong to the NRA. You should belong to other groups too, but as a baseline, you got to belong to the NRA. And then someone will say, well, I disagreed with what the NRA did here, or they did a thing over there. And I know what my response is, but I'm just wondering, as the head of the NRA, what do you tell somebody who's a gun owner, a hunter, a shooter, who says, yeah, I used to belong, but I don't now because of X, whatever it is?
Well, I mean, I tell them, and I believe with all my heart, that NRA, and by NRA, I mean NRA members, are the wall between our freedoms and those that want to take them away. I mean, I believe at the very root of the loss of freedoms in other countries is the inability to form an organization like the NRA. And what I love about it, Tom, with all my heart is it stands on principle and it fights. I mean, when I see an NRA hat, I mean, it literally, I know what that person stands for. I know they believe in defending our freedoms, and I know they're not about to surrender or submit or succumb. They're going to fight for that freedom. And our clout, it comes from everybody one by one. It's made a big difference over the last year, the fact that NRA membership has grown from 4 million to 5 million. I mean, don't think the politicians haven't noticed that. It helps in terms of preserving the freedom, and yet it's all done one by one. I mean, if people sign up, we're stronger. If they don't sign up, we're weaker. And this is a time we cannot afford to be weaker. I mean, every American that cares about freedom needs to get in this fight, get some skin in the game, and that means picking up the phone and calling, 877-NRA-2000 and joining, because that's the key. It's all of us together.
Yeah, I mean, and you sign yourself up if you're not a member. And by the way, there's some people who think they're members who are not. They belonged and it lapsed. They need to check on that. But also sign up your wife, sign up your kids, sign up your friends. Sign up your barber. I don't care. Make sure that it's in the magazines are in the waiting areas of places. Do what you got to do. I've been able to sign up a bunch of folks. A lot of people are signing up others. That's how we get from 4 million to 5 million. When you go in to see a congressman or a senator, and when Chris Cox goes in to see somebody, I know one of the first questions you get is, how's membership? Because that's what matters, isn't it?
That's exactly right. I mean, in a very real and true way, I mean, standing with the NRA is really a massive declaration of individual freedom. I mean, it shows an unwavering determination to ensure the survival of everything you cherish. And when those politicians look over and see NRA growing and 5 million members, and they go. They're politicians. Maybe I better stay away from trying to destroy that freedom, because it's bad politics to be on the wrong side of a Second Amendment, so it makes a difference. It really does.
Yeah, I tell you, we had a great conversation with Wayne, and his point was everybody's got to get registered to vote. Everybody's got to vote. Tell you what, we'll have more about this in just a second. Be right back.
The Ruger LC380 is the perfect pairing of the award-winning LC9 pistol and the popular .380 auto cartridge. The LC380 is the same size as the LC9, yet offers reduced recoil, making it Ruger's lightest recoiling personal protection pistol yet. It features a dovetailed high-visibility 3-dot sight system, 7-round magazine and finger grip extension floor plate, manual safety, and loaded chamber indicator. The Ruger LC380, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Brownells proudly celebrates 75 years of history and heritage as the world's first choice for firearms, accessories, ammunition, and gunsmithing tools. So whether you're a gunsmith in need of parts and supplies, a new shooter looking for the perfect holster, or a skilled competitor seeking the latest gear, Brownells has what you need. And best of all, every purchase comes with the industry's only forever satisfaction guarantee. Visit us at brownells.com.
Home invasions happen anytime, day or night. Do you have a firearm close by? You can, and still keep it secure with one of the great wall safes from Console Vault. Plate steel construction, 2 levels of security, and models which hide in plain sight. Install 2 or 3 around the house. Always nearby, but secure. Locked, but quick to open. Visit consolevault.com. That's CONSOLE vault.com.
Want your opinion to make a difference? Log on to our website and take the Gun Talk poll, www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Tom.
All right, back with the 866 Talk Gun. I really enjoyed a conversation that we had with Wayne LaPierre. And you could hear in his voice the frustration. And it's really, to a large extent, the same kind of frustration you hear from me. And that is the media is throttling our message. That is, they're not allowing it to go out there. They're a valve, a gatekeeper. They're turning it down so we can't get our message out. In the battle of ideas, you need to have all the ideas out there so that people can make educated decisions, informed decisions. If all they hear is a constant drumbeat of kids are dying from shooting accidents, guns cause crime, shoot, 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 crime, 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 guns equal crime, guns equal crime, guns equal crime, and they never hear guns save lives, with all the reports of people using guns to save lives, to save people, to help people, to save law enforcement officers. They never hear about the millions upon millions upon millions of people who use guns safely, responsibly, legally. So all they hear is guns and crime. And if the media won't carry our message, they simply won't let it get out, then you will have public opinion move in the direction of more gun control. When you have a Facebook, an eBay, a Twitter, a social outlet, when you have Bank of America saying we won't do business with companies that sell guns, you have a message that is out there. You have a throttling of the information flow. And that, frankly, is the one that I don't really fear anti-gunners. What I worry about is not being able to get our message out at all. Well, that's what talk radio was and is about. It's an end run around the media. But we have other ways. We have the internet, of course. But you have a very powerful way around this. You could turn around and talk to somebody. You should make it part of your challenge every week. I'm going to talk to somebody about gun rights this week. I'm going to bring up the subject in a friendly way, non-aggressive, non-threatening, and that's going to be my outreach, because when you do that, you shut down CNN. You shut down all of the gatekeepers because they can't stop you from talking to somebody. It really is as simple as that. When we come back, we're going to be talking historical guns from a great museum.
Have you taken your family, friends, and kids shooting lately? You're listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, and we'll be right back. Want to be a guest on the show? Drop us a line at info@guntalk.com. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
Hey, welcome back. Tom Gresham here, 866 Talk Gun. We're open lines. If there's something on your mind you want to talk about, a gun, a caliber, are you thinking about buying a rifle? Certainly we'll talk about that. I was pondering getting a new rifle. I'm a little bit torn. I want to get one of the moderate cartridges, a 6.5 by 55, something along those lines. Of course, I love the 257 Roberts. I'm just undecided. I don't know that I even want to go as powerful as like a 7mm08. I think I want something a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter, deer hunting caliber. So I'm just kind of, that's the fun of it. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just, pick one out, something to be interesting to tinker with, to go out to the range and shoot. So I'm kind of working on that, and it's just one of the fun exercises we go through. I mean, what guns are you thinking about buying? And the thinking about process, the talking about it process, often is just as much fun as when you actually get it and start shooting it. So our number is 866-TALK-GUN if you'd like to join us to talk about that. You know how last week we were talking about the Peruta decision coming out of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Big decision on concealed carry. Well, then right after that, the Ninth Circuit came out with a decision in the Richards case, which is another concealed carry case, which strengthens the previous, the Peruta case, I don't know what they're putting in the water out there, but the Ninth Circuit has gotten a backbone as it relates to the Second Amendment. So keep your eyes focused out there. As several people out there have mentioned, hey, it's good to be a Californian right now. You're making it, you're moving it in the right direction. Congratulations to all of you. If you're in California, give me a holler. Let me know what the mood is. Let me know what's going on out there. All right, let's see here. Chris is on line 2. He is in Eagle Point, Oregon. Hey, Chris.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I am great. You doing some reloading?
I am. I'm pretty new to it. I've been loading pistol. I learned on a progressive press at a friend's house, and I bought one. Mm-hmm. And I've been loading pistol 40 cal and 9s, and now I'm getting into the 223, and I'm finding out it's a whole different operation.
Yeah.
My question is the length of the case, and what are the extremes I can play with?
Well, first let me ask you, do you have a loading manual?
Yes, I do.
Okay, it should be in your loading manual. Every loading manual should give you information on case length.
It does. It gives one measurement. It says 1.76.
1.76 is the max.
Max, okay.
A lot of people go to 1.75 and use that because if you reload a lot, the case length will grow as you resize it and squeeze it down, and then it expands and you squeeze it. And what you're trying to do, I'm not sure if you're clear on what's going on. What you don't want is for the case length to get too long, right? Because theoretically, if you chamber a cartridge and the neck is too long, you could actually hit the front of the chamber where it starts to actually crimp in. Less so with an AR, but like if you had a bolt action where you could really cam the bolt down, it would actually crimp the mouth of the cartridge case into the barrel. And you can just imagine what kind of pressure excursions you could get with that. So that's why we trim back a little bit, like 1.75. And remember, that is after resizing. That's you want to trim after you resize, not before.
Now, what if I have some cases that are less than that? After size, you're down to 1.58, say.
Shouldn't be a problem at all.
Under's not a problem. It's over that's a bad one.
Right. Are you shooting this in AR, or what are you shooting them in?
Yeah, it's in an AR.
Yeah, should not be a problem. Trying to think if there'd be any issues. I don't think short's going to cause you any problems, long as where you can run into an issue. And with an AR, it could cause jamming. With a bolt gun, where you could cam it down, you could actually get pressure excursions. Basically the pressure would jump up on you.
Okay, cool. Well, what I've done is I bought a bunch of first fired brass, and there's a lot of military stuff in there. So it's turned out to be a complicated process.
Yeah, you do complicate things if you're starting to use brass that you don't know where it's been. It's kind of like practicing safe sex. I mean, you got to know where your brass has been, man. Now, a lot of people pick up brass, and I get that. I'm just making a joke. But what you have is not only does it vary in length, it also varies in thickness. And as long as you are not loading them to max pressures, you should be okay. I would pick a load right in the middle and just work from that. And there's no need to try to supersize your 223. Just make it a 223. Don't try to make it a Magnum. Load right in the middle and be happy. But you definitely want to, as much as you can, get particularly for accuracy, you want the overall, the case length to be as uniform as possible. But again, depending on the gun you're shooting, and it sounds to me like you're kind of looking for something that goes bang at this point. You're not looking for max accuracy. Is that right? I
run a couple thousand rounds through my gun and get familiar with it, and then I'm going to maybe play with doing target loads. But I just want to shoot it right now. Okay,
yeah, that'll work. It shouldn't be a problem then. I think you're on the right path. Have fun with it, Chris, and I appreciate the call. Richard is on line 1 out of Oregon. Hey, Richard, you're on Gun Talk.
Hi, how are you, Tom?
I am good.
I'm looking for a 38 long Colt, and I'd like to put some 38 specials through it. If I trim down the 38 specials, will they work?
I have no idea. I have never shot a long Colt. So I don't know. But I tell you what we'll do. We'll put out the call. Who knows something about the long Colt? Who can help Richard with this deal? Give me a holler. Let him know how can he use 38 special brass, or can he, in his long Colt. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk. If you're looking for a safe and trusted way to sell your firearms, look no further than Dury's Gun Shop. I trusted them to sell my dad's collection. They built their business for over 50 years on honesty and customer service. Dury's Guns will buy any size collection or estate, none too big or too small. Selling your firearms to Dury's Guns is easy. Go with the pros. I trust Dury's Guns. Dury'sGuns.com.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
In the field or on the range, you need a trigger you can trust. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. A Timney trigger could mean the difference between a great shot and a miss. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. To order, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
The .45 Auto, also known as the 1911, is the standard other defensive pistols are measured against. No matter what pistol you carry, techniques developed around the 1911 are vital. You know you need training, and you know your concealed carry class definitely was not training. Now Gun Talk presents an exciting DVD, Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. Tiger's unique training style will have you drawing, moving, shooting, and running your gun better, no matter what style pistol you prefer. At ShopGunTalk.com, you can order our DVDs of Tiger's instruction. ShopGunTalk.com also has a 2-DVD set, including Concealed Carry 1. Get both for the information you know you need. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com has DVDs, books, and other essential gear. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Crossbreed Holsters is broadening our product selection to serve more of your concealed carry needs. With products handmade in the USA, like the bedside backup, gun belts, and of course our world-famous Super Tuck and Mini Tuck holsters, we understand what works, and we take pride in providing you with a quality product. At Crossbreed Holsters, we live and breathe concealed carry. We make and sell products that we believe in and products that our customers love. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com.
Questions? Comments? Please email Tom at guntalk.com. During the show, you can call Tom at 866-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, back to Gun Talk.
All right, here we're talking about guns. Give me a holler if you got a gun that you want to tell me about, a question you want to ask. We'll try to tackle it. Shotguns, rifles, handguns, revolvers, semi-autos, doesn't matter. We'll yak about all of them. I may not know the answer, but I have a staff of thousands out there. That's all you folks, of course. And we'll get all the help we can get. Let's see, got an email from Chris. He says, where's all the .22 long rifle ammo? He says, I'm not having any problems finding other popular caliber ammo, but no luck on the .22 long rifle. The few I do find are, quote, high-quality target rounds, close quote, from a company I never heard of, and a price of $15 for 100. $15 for 100 rounds. Yikes. Any advice? He says, thanks. He says, also, P.S. Gun Talk is now broadcast on the power stations 1360 Modesto and 1280 Stockton in the San Joaquin Central Valley of California. Attaboy, way to go. We are proud to be there. What happened to the .22 ammo? Well, it's the same thing that happened to all the other ammo last year. We simply have not slowed down our buying of .22 ammo. We're buying it all. We have millions more people buying ammo now than we had a few years ago. And a lot of them are buying .22 ammo. And it's simply not there. I mean, there's enough ammo being made now to completely take care of the demand 3 years ago. But what we have is this weird situation. If every gun store counter had 100,000 rounds of .22 ammo on it, imagine that. You go in, there's just racks and racks and racks of .22 ammo. People would stop buying .22 ammo, for the most part. They'd buy some. But because it's in short supply, they sit there and they wait for the truck to arrive at 6 o'clock in the morning. And instead of buying 1,000 rounds, they buy 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever they could get their hands on, thus creating, exacerbating, and perpetuating the problem. So, Chris, I don't know when. Everybody keeps wanting to know, when is this going to get better? I don't know. I wish I knew. I asked the ammo companies, and they all say the same thing. We're making all the ammo we can physically make. At the same time, they will tell me very candidly, they say, and we're not going to build another plant because we're not going to go stick our necks out to the tune of $40 million on a plant and then possibly have the demand drop off. In fact, almost certainly have the demand drop off because of what I just said. If it becomes plentiful, people will stop buying it at the current rate. We're in this very weird place. If everybody stopped buying .22 ammo for 3 months, just stopped, the shelves would be full, you would have ammo everywhere, and people would not be so spooked about this thing, and we could get back to normal. And that would be a wonderful thing, and it would solve the problem, and we could actually do this ourselves. We could solve the problem ourselves. But that's not going to happen because people are not going to stop buying it because everybody's going to say, oh, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. And the very idea that you would say, well, if everybody just stopped buying, they're thinking, yeah, you stopped buying it, so I get mine. So, I mean, that's where we are. That's really what's going on. Line 2, Jim is with us out of Nebraska with some help about the 38 Colt. Hey, Jim.
Good afternoon. I have shot both. The cases are exactly the same. I looked it up in Ken Howell's custom cartridges.
Okay.
And the only difference is the case length. He could trim it back and use it. I have done that.
Okay, so you could take 38 Special and trim it back and shoot it in a 38 Colt, long Colt.
Yes. It has it right. What do I want to say? The rim diameter is exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
The diameter of the case body is exactly the same. The length of the case is 1.350. That's the long Colt. And everything on, the overall length, the case length, is 1.155 on the 38 Special. That's the only difference.
So what you really have here, for those who are familiar with the 38 Special and the 357 Magnum, because the 357 Magnum has a slightly longer case, the 38 Special is simply a slightly longer case than the 38 Long Colt, right?
Correct.
All right. Hey, Jim, that's great information. I appreciate that. Like I said, had never loaded. In fact, I don't know that I've even ever shot a 38 Long Colt, so I really wasn't that familiar with it. But that helps me out a bunch. I knew we could get some help from our friends out there. Thank you, sir. Will is on line 2 out of Houston. Got a question about some 30 caliber rifles. Hey, Will.
Hey, Tom. Listen, I heard your question, and I'm thinking I've got a 300 Blackout, AAC upper, and I've got the gun sight. After your series on the gun sight 308, I picked up that little Ruger gun sight.
Right.
But thinking about maybe letting go of the 30 Blackout, and like you, looking for a mid caliber. The 223 is a little light to hunt deer down here in Texas with.
Okay, all right. I'm going to jump in here because I'm short on time. You cannot do better than the 308. The 300 Blackout is a great caliber, but it's not nearly as versatile as the 308. You can load the 308 up and down and sideways. You get light bullets, heavy bullets. You can shoot deer with it, elk, moose, bear, anything. If you got to choose one, you have to go with the 308. And that Ruger, it's the Ruger Gun Sight Scout Rifle, is such a delightful package. In fact, I got to get mine out. I got the left-handed version of it. I got to get that thing rigged up. It is so sweet.
You don't have to agree with Tom to participate in the show. Call now with any of your concerns about guns, gun rights, or particular firearms, or suggestions for your shooting activity or personal protection. 1-866-825-5486. Gun Talk is coming right back.
All right, back with you, 866 Talk Gun. When we come back in just a few minutes, we'll be talking with the assistant curator of the Cody Firearms Museum in Cody, Wyoming, rather. It's a fabulous museum. It's actually 5 museums under one roof, one of my favorite places. And speaking of museums, Larry's on line 4 out of Houston, wants to talk about another museum. Hey, how you doing, Larry?
Hey, how you doing? Real quick, I know we're up against the hour. Mason, or the J.D. Davis Jr. Gun Collection in Claremore, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a chance to be there?
I have not. I've heard about it. Have you been up there?
I've been there on several occasions. In fact, we were there when it used to be housed in the old Mason Hotel. He's got over 20,000 weapons on display, and it is absolutely fabulous.
Does he specialize in anything? Like, is it Western or military, or is it all over the place?
It's everything. It's Western, military, turn of the century. He's got firearms that were Buffalo Bill, Annie Oakley, James gun. I mean, just everything.
Huh, okay. And it's the J.D. Davis collection.
J.D. Davis Jr. Firearm Collection in Claremore, Oklahoma.
Huh, okay. All right, there we go. On the web, it is thegunmuseum.com. Just Googled it up, and there you go. Thegunmuseum.com will get you there. Thank you, sir. I'm going to have to make it a point to get over there. I like museums in general because I like history. And obviously, gun museums are fun because you can tell history through firearms, and it's what some of the gun grabbers, the gun baiters don't understand, that gun collectors are really historians. They look at these guns and say, well, this gun was used in the Battle of the Bulge, or this gun was used in the Ardennes Forest, or this was the gun that typified the westward expansion across the United States, et cetera, et cetera. One of the finest historians I've ever run into was Hank Williams, Jr. He'd pick up a Sharps rifle and say, well, this gun was sent to so-and-so, and he had it in a covered wagon and took it over here to Fort whatever, and it was just amazing. So there are so many interesting things. If you get a chance to go to a really good firearms museum like this one that we're talking about, or the Cody Museum, you just got to do it. It's so much fun. Let's see. Gary's line 2 in Galveston Island, Texas. Hey, Gary.
Hello, Tom. Tom, I'm 58 years old. I'm thinking about retirement, and what I want to do in my retirement is I want to be a gunsmith. And I'd like to know if you have any thoughts on online gunsmithing courses that I could take. I've already contacted Penn Foster, but I'm lost as far as what would be the best school to enroll with.
I absolutely don't know. No one would ever allow me to even put a screwdriver on a gun. So that's as far as my knowledge goes on gunsmithing. Tell you what we'll do. I'm sure we have some listeners who have done online gunsmithing courses. We're going to ask for some help. If people have some background in that and can call us, let me know what you think. And frankly, one of the things I'd like to know about, Gary, I bet you would too, is the value of online versus going somewhere and taking a gunsmithing class. So we'll see what we can do about that. But if you have some insight or some thoughts, if you're a gunsmith, that would really be helpful. Your thoughts on, can you learn it online? Is it better going somewhere? Or are you better apprenticing somewhere, which I would think that would be ideal, where someone could help you learn the trade, because it is a trade, and there's a lot to it. I'd assume that somebody who's interested in it probably has already been taking guns apart for years, that type of thing. But if you've got some background in that, give us a holler. I'd like to know more about it. I get that question fairly often. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in there. In the meantime, when we come back, we're going to be talking about classic guns, historical guns. We're talking about Buffalo Bill Cody, Dwight D. Eisenhower's guns. It goes on and on. You do not want to miss this one. Coming up on Gun Talk. Shoot me an email. Send me a question. Tom@guntalk.com.
No black helicopters here, just the facts about gun rights and gun ownership. This is Gun Talk.